I want you to know that I'm standing here by the BC Supreme Court of British Columbia, and this is ground zero for the decimation of parental rights in Canada.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. We're here out front of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court of British Columbia in Canada because in just 4 days from now, on Tuesday, September 3rd, we're going to be here to cover a potentially precedent-setting case where a father has officially been charged with family violence simply for referring to his own daughter as a she. This is a man who attempted to stop doctors from giving her hormone boosters. So today, we're going to be speaking with Angelina Ireland of the People's Party of Canada, a woman who's been covering this case since the very beginning about this, again, very important precedent-setting case. All right, so we're here with Angelina Ireland. Now, you have been covering this very important case since the very beginning. So maybe for some of the viewers at home who are not familiar with this particular case, why don't you start us from the beginning? Tell us how this story started for this father and the things he's now dealing with.
Right. I met the father back in December of 2018 when he received a letter from the BC Children's Hospital informing him that he was no longer relevant in the medical care of his child. He showed me the letter. It was unbelievable. And we decided then at that point that this was something that we needed to fight. And I've been standing alongside of him, going to all the court cases, speaking with him as he went through this very difficult battle to try and save his child.
Now, what was she seeking medically at that time?
Hormone treatments, testosterone treatments. And I think it's really important to be said that, the father, knowing him very well as I do, never had any issue with the fact that his child may become transgender. He was very respectful of everyone's sexual identity and orientation. The only thing that he ever wanted was time. Time that his 13-year-old child could mature to make sure that, in fact, that this medical intervention is something that would not be regrettable.
Mm-hmm. As I understand it, a lot of young girls at that age go through different phases of feeling like a tomboy and things of that nature. But as you say, they often have time to figure out if this is the path they want to pursue later in life.
Yeah, exactly. He was, supportive. In fact, he even had bought her a transgender flag. So there was no issue about that. The only thing he asked for was time till she got through puberty. Because we know, having looked at many studies, that children with gender dysphoria tend to remit. 85% of them tend to remit if you just allow them to go through puberty and just grow up. And he did not want at some point for her to have any regret. So that's why he asked that his child just give it a little bit more time.
Right. Now, he's taken this to the courts, and coming up in 4 days from now, he's got a new battle. Tell us what's going to be going on right here on Tuesday, September 3rd.
Well, I want you to know that I'm standing here by the BC Supreme Court of British Columbia, and this is ground zero for the decimation of parental rights in Canada. We have seen case after trial here where he lost. He has been pushed out of making any decisions for his child's medical care. So at that point now, he's appealed it to the Court of Appeals. This is the highest court in British Columbia, and he's asking the court to listen to his experts that he has assembled and to give him a fair hearing about this particular case with his child.
One would think that a fair hearing is only fair, and anything other than that is just totalitarian and authoritarian. I mean, what do you have to say about this Canadian government who is allowing this to happen to this man, and the fact that the media is covering it as if he's the problem?
Right, he's been demonized, and the fact of the matter is, regardless of the rhetoric that's being thrown around, the state has walked in, has stolen his child, and is, experimenting on his child. That's what this is. We don't know exactly what the medical ramifications are of this kind of treatment. We know that it's going to be permanent. We know that, the child will be sterilized, that the child will have facial hair, that the child's voice will be lower. There's a number of other things. In fact, there was a whole page or two of side effects regarding this kind of treatment. And, to tell a father that they're no longer have to have anything to do with this treatment, when at the end of the day, it will be the father that picks up the pieces.
We have a serious issue, obviously, in this country with parental rights. So what do you and the People's Party of Canada are foreseeing that needs to be done moving forward in regards to this?
Well, on a federal level, Canada is a signatory to the UN Human Rights Declarations. There are two, Declaration of the Child and also just Human Rights Declarations. And in both of those, there is places where parents are given, basically universal rights to have with their children. And those have been violated here. This is a complete violation of the UN Declaration of Rights where parents are concerned. My position is that the federal government needs to step in. That parents have rights. We have a right to decide about the education of our children. We are the ones who have the rights to instill our values with our children. It's not the state. These are not wards of the state that we are just supposed to be raising and giving to the government, right? These are our children, and we do this job with love, and we sacrifice, and we do require the respect that should be afforded to us.
Yeah, and honestly, we need more fathers like him who, in this current climate, are willing to take that stand and to step up and take it to the courts and say, no, enough is enough. I need to stand up for the rights of my own kid, my own daughter. Now, I would be talking to this man here today if I could, but unfortunately he's not even allowed to speak with anybody about this. Can you tell us a little bit about the publication ban, the gag order that he currently has on him?
It's a complete gag order. In fact, to me, it's as if the state has actually their boot right down on his throat. He is not allowed to speak even to his own lawyers about this case. I mean, I've known him from the beginning, so I know what's going on with him. And it's been an extremely difficult time. Right? He suffers from PTSD. There's no one that he's allowed to speak to. He has to internalize everything. And to watch, powerless, what's happening to your child, I think is the worst torture you could put upon a parent.
There seems to be something happening in this country when it comes to trans activists or trans rights activists who are using the system to abuse others. Is this something you're familiar with and something that the People's Party of Canada is, aware of as well?
Well, we as a party and personally, we respect all people, regardless of their gender, their gender orientation, their sexual orientation, their identity, their color, their race, their religion. I mean, we are all Canadian. We're all Canadian first. But, we have to be concerned when extremism comes into the picture. Extremism in all regards, be it extremism with religions or extremism with sexual orientations, or that's the kind of thing that I don't think any Canadian wants to have a strong hold on our country. We're all equal. We want to maintain that equality rights for all, but not when it becomes extreme, and not when you have basically written parents right out of the equation.
Mm-hmm. Now, I guess to kind of move forward with solutions, a lot of people are going to be watching this and saying, this is outrageous. I hope this doesn't set a precedent moving forward. So what do I do? What does the individual at home watching this do to be able to get involved and to help fathers like this one who are standing up for his daughter? How does the average person at home get involved in this?
It's a great question, because at the moment we as parents do feel absolutely powerless. We feel powerless across the country in all provinces. And that's why we need, an overarching government to stand up and say, parents have rights. We need to ask our leaders to support parents. We need to ask for legislation to support parents, because, perhaps we are also need to be a protected group. Mm-hmm. That's a good question too, right? So we have to ask our government to stand behind us, and ultimately they do answer to us, the people, And if they're going to support extremist views and extremist organizations, then they really are not supporting the people.
Well, I want to encourage people to check out the People's Party of Canada, because honestly, it's the only party, as far as I can tell, who has been willing to touch this thing, even with the, to even go near this story. So I want to encourage people to check that out. Where can they go to learn more from your party?
We have a website, of course. It's the peoplespartyofcanada.ca. I have a website. It's aireland.ca. And, there's candidates in practically every riding in this country, right? The People's Party is the fastest growing political party in Canadian history. What's happening is historical. So go online to the People's Party website and check out who your candidate is in your riding and give them your support, because we are really the only party that has the courage to have these difficult conversations, knowing that we may have some kind of backlash, but we are still strong enough to stand for what is right. So I would encourage everyone, please, to support the People's Party of Canada so that we can continue to talk truth and stand up for people's rights.
And maybe even join us on Tuesday, September 3rd, here at the Court of Appeal in Supreme Court in downtown Vancouver. We will be here to cover this, again, a very important, potentially precedent-setting case. So stay tuned for that. Once again, Angelina, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
We all want truth. The truth will set you free.